So has been a very interesting day. And if you're tuned in now, you are actually tuned into Love and Entrepreneurship, where we talk about love and we talk about business. We talk about being an entrepreneur and starting businesses or developing your business. And today, I started off with saying it's been a really, really crazy day. Very busy for us. And then, of course, with what's happening currently today, in the news, and I think, very, very impactful. I think my wife want to kind of start that part, being from LA.
Okay.
So if you're watching, though, definitely tag somebody, start a watch party. Anybody who, are connected in business or wanting to start business, make sure you tag them. Start your own watch party.
All right, I'm just sharing this opportunity for people to join us, and
I think she's struggling right now.
Yeah. So many of us who are from Los Angeles, we all know how much today is really hitting home. Kobe Bryant, as you can see, I have been A1 from day one. From day one, that's his original number when he was drafted. And I have been a Lakers fan way before Kobe came to the team. I've been a Lakers fan since the early 80s and has been consistent through thick and thin. Even though, when the Warriors started doing their thing, I am from California, so I was cheering them on, but I have always been a Lakers fan. And so today has been and is very, very hard on the city of LA, on Lakers fans, and around the world. Kobe Bryant is a legend. He is a legend. And so my condolences to the Bryant family and the families of the other passengers. There were there were 9 people total who passed away. Kobe and his daughter was just 2 of the 9. So my prayers and condolences goes out to all of the family members involved. And in the spirit of Kobe Bryant and his hard work ethic, before we go into our topic today, I just wanted to give you the top 3 traits that Kobe Bryant have that every successful entrepreneur have. The first one was a strong work ethic. If you know anything about Kobe Bryant, you know that he used to practice free throw shooting for hours every day until he perfected this shot to the point where at one point he was shooting over 90%. Well, in order for us to shoot over 90% in business, we need to take the time and the effort to put in the practice time. Because in order for us to be successful in anything, we need to put in the practice time.
Yeah.
I was just talking to Chris the other day about, so I've been in this weight loss journey. I've already lost 37 pounds, and I'm excited about that. I have a lot more to go, but one of the things that I've noticed is that my weight loss has slowed down tremendously. And one of the things that popped up was, how much time are you spending working out? Well, you can't go and work out for 20 minutes and expect maximum results, right? So it's the same thing. When you have a business, just like what Kobe did, when he practiced, when he felt his free throw needed some work, he practiced for hours, hundreds, thousands of hours. And you can find video to verify that. So we had the work ethic. The other thing he had was he prepared his legacy. He stayed in the industry for 20 years. Well, in business, if you're going to give up after 2 years because things got hard, then you're not really ready for this game. I want to be truly honest with you folks and let you know that entrepreneurship is not easy.
No.
It's never easy when it's with your spouse, but it's definitely not easy when it's just you. At least with my spouse, I can have a little bit more support. But if it's just you and you don't have that strong work ethic, statistics say first 5 years. You got 5 years before your business closes. So I want you to start thinking about preparation. If you haven't started your business yet, this is the last trait that I want to talk to you about, and that's preparation. The formula is when preparation meets opportunity, there you will find success. So I want you to be completely honest with yourself and ask yourself, are you ready to embark on this journey? Because once you start, there's no turning back. There's no quitting. You start and you finish this thing, because this is going to be your legacy. This is going to be what people know you by, and this is what's going to lead to your children. So if you're going to be about this entrepreneurship life, go all the way. Do it 100%. Do it with your all. Put thousands of hours of practice in, and I can promise you, at the end of the day, it will be rewarding. Well, folks.
Hey, I think you lost your watch party.
Oops. I got my watch party going.
All right, so today we are continuing. Last week we were talking about money, and guess what? This week is no different. We're still talking about money. And so I posted a question in the comments, so definitely comment, chime in. I love the interaction. I want to know what you want to know about money and how, I guess, you want to get funding for your business. That's pretty much like one of the number one things I always hear. People want to know, how am I going to get money for my business? Will people invest in me? How do I get investors? And I think the core to that is definitely developing the foundation first of what that business is, so that way that business is proven and is not a volatile business where it's going to go up and down within the first year. Prove it out within yourself. Have test markets before you look for an investor to kind of put money up. And then Ty's going to talk about even in the nonprofit world, how to gather grants and what you need to do to put yourself in position to get those grants and those fundings.
Right, so he hit the nail right on the head. And grantors is just like angel investors. If you want to get money from someone, you need to have your stuff together.
Yeah.
And what I mean by you need to have your stuff together, you need to have a proper name registration with the state. You need to have your EIN filed with the IRS. And that is your EIN. If you're a nonprofit, you need to have that EIN number registered as a tax-exempt entity. If you do not have your EIN registered with the IRS as a tax-exempt organization, you are not a nonprofit just because you registered with the state. We want you guys to have the information that you need to be successful, but we also need for you to do business right. Because in order for you to get money, to get millions of dollars from investors, from funders, from grantors, from venture capitalists, wherever the money is going to come from, they're going to ask you for certain things. And if you don't have that, you're not going to get the money.
Right. If you think about it, just even in a personal relationship, generally when someone asks you for money, first thing you're probably thinking is, well, what do you need the money for? And then the second thing is, and are you going to give me this money back? Well, those same principles apply when you're dealing with corporations.
Right.
Because they want to know, if I give you this money, will you be around next week?
To get my return. I want to get a return on this investment. So I have quite a few people that come to me for investments, because I am an investor and I love to mentor businesses. That's what I do on the side, because I still have my own businesses that I have to run on a day-to-day basis. We have dozens of employees that work for us, but one of the things that we try to make sure of is that when people have an idea, we want to help them protect that idea. So when the first thing you do when you have an idea, and that idea is pretty fleshed out, I mean, you have maybe a framework, you have already put your framework together, then protect that idea by, if it's a product, get the patent. If it's a logo or some type of intellectual property, get your trademark, get your copyright, because those things are going to protect you. And before you start talking to people, get your NDA.
What is it?
Non-disclosure agreement. Non-disclosure agreement, which simply says, if I tell you something and you go out and try to do it, or you go out and you try to sell my idea, I will sue your pants off and I will get paid for your indiscretions. So what you want to do is protect your idea. So stop going around telling everybody your great idea, because if you tell the wrong person, someone who has really bad character, they will steal your idea, and next thing you know, you'll see it online in advertisement.
You might end up in a ditch. I always think about the story of Joseph and how he began to tell his brothers about his dream and how much he was going to be successful. A lot of times people around you, even family members, can't really accept that because they know where you've been and know who you were, but they can't see where you're going. And so you definitely want to protect that by protecting yourself and realize that, you know, maybe I can't tell this vision, I can't tell this dream to everybody that I meet.
Right.
I need to find more higher minded people in order for this business to grow.
Right. So not everybody's going to be on the same page where you're going. So just know that that secret, your idea, can be kept secret until it's time to flush it out completely. All right? Now, when you are going after funding, you want to make sure you have several things in place prior to. Now, I'm going to talk about the nonprofit side, and then we're going to flip over to the for-profit side, because this is two different methods of how you go about getting funding, okay? So on the nonprofit side, if you do not have your 501c3, that is automatically, you're not going to get that funding.
No.
So the first thing you need to do is register your EIN number with the IRS. The cost for that is about between $250 and $600. This is how you know if you can pay the $250. If there's a short form, and a lot of people are gonna be mad at me for telling you this because
you about to tell a secret?
I'm about to tell a secret.
All right.
They're gonna charge you like $1,500 to set up your nonprofit. Doesn't take that much money, okay?
What?
You can take about $250, $300, and you can set this nonprofit up yourself as long as you have everything in place. That is your state registration, your name, and everything like that. You already have an EIN. You don't need the articles. That's the long form. They don't have to do the long form anymore.
Right.
You can now do the short form to get your EIN number registered with the IRS as tax exempt. That process will take you about 15 minutes, and you'll have your application submitted, and usually it'll take about 45 days to, I've actually seen this take up to a year before you get your 501c3, but at least it'll be registered. Now they will proactively back to the date of your application. So if you started doing fundraisers and things like that, then you can actually get your donors tax deductions, the tax deduction to your donors. So if they donated in April, and you got your tax exemption in June, but you applied in January, they will still get a tax deduction for that donation. So sometimes people don't know that fact, and so they hold off on fundraising until they get the tax exempt, but you don't actually need it right then and there when you're doing your fundraiser. Here's another way you can get fundraising done without having a tax exempt number. That is through a fiscal sponsor. Now, our organization is one of the fiscal sponsors that's located in the fiscal sponsor directory. Write this down. You want to go to fiscalsponsordirectory.org.
Oh, you giving out secrets.
I'm giving out secrets.
Come on.
Oh, yes. So I'm giving you this.
Why you got your pen? Give it to me again.
Fiscal sponsor directory.
Okay.
What you want to do is look in searching your state. This is for people who don't have an EIN number that's registered with the IRS as a tax exempt organization.
What's the website again?
Fiscal sponsor fiscal sponsor. That you can just Google fiscal sponsor directory and it'll take you there. But what you want to do is find an organization in your state who's a fiscal sponsor. Now, a fiscal sponsor does charge admin fees, but what's going to happen is your admin fee may be like 10%, but you can actually start taking in donations now. Your fiscal sponsor will be responsible for getting the donor donations to you, which is like the 90%, and then you will have to inform them that the money that you use for your tax exempt purpose, it has to be for that purpose. So, for example, if you had a fundraiser and you raised $10,000, $9,000 will go directly to you. $10,000 will go to your fiscal sponsor. All the money comes into your fiscal sponsor, first of all. So they write in the check out to, let's say, the Opportunity Knox. They write the check out, and then Opportunity Knox will then issue you a check for 90% of that. What you have to do is maintain proper record keeping, because that money is still being watched by your fiscal sponsor.
Right.
So
and
in
the
order
sponsor has to account for.
Yes,
for that.
they have to.
Yeah.
They have to. So you can't raise money for a tax exempt purpose and then take that money and go and buy some shoes or go on a shopping spree.
If your nonprofit is doing something connected to shoes and giving it out to the
We did meet someone today who actually buys shoes and gives them to underprivileged people. So if that's your tax exempt purpose, then ball out on your shoes. Ball out on shoes, right? But if you are going on a beautiful cruise with your family with that money,
right,
just know that it will be you can go to jail for that. So you don't want to mess with the IRS. Yes, we call her Iris. We call her Iris, and we don't mess with Iris around here. So we do the right thing the first time, okay? And this is why we're teaching you the proper steps. Now, on the nonprofit side, we're still talking about nonprofits. If you don't have your tax exempt status, we just gave you the secret for that. Now, what do you do to get grants? I'm glad you asked. Well, the first thing you need to do is have some bona fide programs. Now, most grantors do not fund startups. Like, if you just had an idea.
But I just got my 501c3.
You just got your 501c3 yesterday, and I'm going to go after a $50,000
You trying to tell me I can't get $50,000?
Most likely, no. Oh. And this is why. Because most grantors want to see a history of programming, usually 1 or sometimes 2 years of programming, because they don't want a fly-by-night. They don't want to fund fly-by-night ideas. So
remember, I said they need to know your track record. They need they want to know, are you going to be around next year?
Right.
And if you are, maybe that might be a program or a foundation or a nonprofit that they want to continually to invest in.
Right.
Because trust me, they don't like the work of researching and finding out who to give the money to.
Yep.
Once they figure out, oh, this person is doing something great, guess what? Now you're earmarked for the following year.
Yep. So that's the first thing. The second thing, so you want to have bona fide programs. Programs is simply what you do, your mission and what you do, but it's organized in a fashion that is earmarked. The funding will be earmarked towards the operations of that tax exempt purpose. So, for example, in our organization, we have youth programs such as after school programs. So if a person or a foundation or a corporation funds that program, they may say, okay, this is a perfect example. We have funding. We have $5,000 that was earmarked to the arts. They want to fund the arts only, not the other stuff. They don't want to fund homework assistance. This is all the other stuff that we do. They want to fund the arts. So when we bring in our artists, we bring in our visual artists, we bring in our drama instructor, our dance instructor, our martial artists, all of the people that's under the arts, they fall under that grant bucket. And then when we report to them, we tell them this is where the money went. This is what the money paid for. It paid for the art supplies. It paid for the instructors. It paid for technical support. It paid for a small piece that went to admin. And that's what they want to see. But if you don't have that, it's hard for them to know where that money is going to go. So first of all, setting up your program. the next thing is you want to have a program narrative. That is what your program is about and why you're doing this program. You want to make sure that this is clearly stated why you're doing the program, who the program is for, the demographic. What's the need? What's the need? For example, in our program, in the arts is very desolate in rural communities and in underprivileged communities. So when we say there is a need for the arts in this particular region, we have statistics to prove it. And
Right.
we have statistics to prove everything that we're saying that there is a need for. So everything that you say there is a need for, you need to back it up with statistics. Now that's on the grant writing side. But if you don't have that information, guess what? The information is always out there. You can find statistical information about a particular neighborhood under the census.gov website. You can find that under the city has demographic information about their own city. So that's city data, city-data.com. And so those are the type of websites you can go to get city data, and that will give you the information that you need to put in your grant request. Once you get that grant request down pat with data, that's all they want to see is why you need this money. Then you proving your case. Now they want to see what you're going to do with that money. Mm-hmm. Once you put it down on the paper, this is what we're going to do with that money. You need to stick with that. Now, if you're going to change it, you have to notify them first, because if you change the purpose of that, where that money is going, you will never get money from them again.
Yeah, that is one of the biggest keys, is that whatever you say you're going to do with the money, please do that with the money. I've seen countless of people actually now get grant money and then decide to change up the whole narrative, the whole program of what they're doing. Well, guess what? They have now broken that relationship with that actual funder, and that funder is definitely not going to give the money again. Think of it again with a personal relationship. If you gave someone, $100, they said they're going to pay their light bill, and then you found out that they didn't use that to pay their light bill, but they went out to party. Well, how are you going to feel?
You're going to be hot about it.
You're going to be so mad about it. You're like, you told me that your lights was out and you needed that $100 in order to do this. And now you went out and partied that money?
Right. So how would you feel if someone did that to you? The next time they come and ask you for money, what are you going to do? The last time I gave you money,
you didn't do what you said.
You didn't do what you said you was going to do. So guess what? The answer is no. So don't be that person. Okay? They want to know that you're going to do what you say you're going to do with that money. And once you do, guess what starts to happen? So you put what you do. If you get a company like Walmart or a company that's reputable to do your first grant, to fund your first grant or your first project, put it on your website and then put it in every single grant that you write. This is what you do. When you write the grant, you will say, join companies like Walmart Corporation who donated towards this cause. What did you just do? That's a sales tactic all day. You
just said this person gave me their stamp of approval. They've already invested in me. What you waiting for? Here's the trick. It does not have to be a large amount. You don't have to disclose.
You want to know how much our first grant was? Was it $250?
No, it was $100.
$100. It was from Walmart.
$100.
It was from Walmart, but it was $100. But you want to know what we did? We did exactly what I just told you to do. We did our next grant to Sam's Club, which is still kind of Walmart, but it's still.
That was before they joined forces.
But they're the same company. But anyway, we did the next grant, and we said, join Walmart Corporation in empowering youth to excel in positive arts. Don't you want to be a part of that change in the community? Guess what? The next grant was $2,000. We actually have the grant check, the big one that they give when you win an award. They gave us a huge check like that. We still have that check to this day as our first large grant. But we were so excited about that $2,000 because we had just gotten started, and we knew that this was the beginning of a series of companies.
Well, actually, we had not really just got started.
No, we had just got started grant writing.
Getting into the grant. So
right.
One thing I always tell people, and even speaking today earlier, I was just sharing with people that you have to realize that just because you started a nonprofit, just because you have a great idea, great mission, you got your 501c3 status, it does not mean that people are going to give you grants right away.
Right, because think about it like this: the pie for grant funding is like this big, right? Now the number of nonprofit organizations is like this big. So you have a pot of money that's this big, but you have the number of organizations that's this big. So what do? You either slice the pie super, super small and you start giving out $500 micro grants, or you find 10 reputable organizations that you know is doing the work and you just give a large amount to them all the time. So when we first started grant writing, we started talking about, or we started seeing who they were giving to. We're like, this is the same type of organizations. You got the Boys and Girls Club and YMCA and the YWCA and Girls Inc. and all of these organizations, United Way, the organizations that you know, the names that you know and you trust. Those were the ones getting all the funding. And you're like, what? What's wrong with me? But it wasn't that there was anything wrong with us. It was that we hadn't established enough traction and our brand awareness wasn't big enough for them to know who we are. So we actually, even 11 years in, we are actually still working on brand awareness so that when funders get our application, they say, I know that logo. I've seen it somewhere. Yeah. That's what we want to do. We want brand recognition when it comes to our grants, because and that's why we put our logo on everything. So when they get that grant application, the first thing they see is the logo. They say, I know this organization. We've seen it somewhere. So grant narrative is extremely important, and brand awareness is also extremely important. The last thing we're going to talk about is the project budget and why the project budget is so important to have. And not just the project budget, but your organization budget and your organizational finances. In order for you to get money from funders, they're going to want to see your financials. And guess what? Your financials need to be organized, and organized by categories. This is why we have QuickBooks. Now, QuickBooks is not the only accounting software. It is probably one of the most widely used accounting software.
So here's the thing,
it's not the only one.
If bookkeeping is not your strength,
please pay somebody. please. Oh my gosh, Lord Jesus. If I cannot tell you, I cannot stress this enough. I will tell you this, my babies. Monique said, my babies. Please get an accountant. Please get an accountant if you do not know accounting and bookkeeping. I'm going to say it again. If you don't know accounting and bookkeeping, just pay somebody. You should be able to find a great accountant for $100, $200 a month.
And when you're starting out...
Well, when you're starting out, it's actually probably way less than that. You could probably get somebody for like $50. Actually, probably go on Fiverr and find one. You just need to get someone organizing your financials. Once they're organized, then you can present them to the funders, but they're not going to fund you if your financials is not organized. So this is what they want to see in your financials. They want to see your revenue streams. So they want to make sure that you don't have just one revenue stream coming in. So what you want to do is diversify your revenue streams in your organization, in your business, and then your income, your expenses. They want to see your expenses. They want to know how much you're paying for rent. They want to know how much you're paying for salaries, how much you're paying for. And in a nonprofit, let me tell you what a no-no is. You don't want your CEO or the executive director or your salary is more than what the programming is making. So let's say you brought in $50,000, but your salary is $40,000. Yeah, that's not gonna fly right. That's not gonna fly right.
Iris will come after you.
Iris, you don't want to see Iris, do you? I don't think so. Okay, but one of the things that we want to help you with is how to find. I want to make sure we connect you to some resources, some free resources or some low-cost resources as a startup. So if you need help as a nonprofit organization, if you need help with finding an accounting software because QuickBooks is very expensive, get your pen because I'm about to give you another freebie.
Man, she's giving away the good.
I'm giving away. This one's good.
Mm-hmm. That's what
you want to go to TechSoup.org. That's TechSoup, TechSoup, Tech, and then soup, like you're eating soup. .org. What is TechSoup? TechSoup is a platform that organizations come to get donations for software and even some hardware. And what happens is that TechSoup forces partnership with corporations like Microsoft, Adobe, Dell, Lenovo, QuickBooks, Intuit.
and they have some hardware products.
And
too.
They have hardware products.
Computers.
There's times when it comes and it goes so fast, so you have to get it while it lasts. But they've had Apple MacBooks and Dell laptops and things like that, ThinkPads.
But they have it at discounted.
Right, the only thing you pay is an admin fee. Which covers their costs in acquiring the materials and sending it out to you. But you have to have your registered 501c3 in order to get it. But once you have it, all you do is fax it over to them or email it over to them. Once they verify your tax exempt status, you can start ordering as early as that next day. And so you can get TechSoup, you can get QuickBooks on TechSoup for $50 a year. $50, that's the annual subscription for QuickBooks Online. And if you know how much QuickBooks Online costs, it is not $50. It is $50 a month. So what you're able to do is get a state-of-the-art software for 10%. They took 90% off.
We were able to get the whole Microsoft suite and supply it for our whole staff.
Right. Computers. So all of our computers are stacked with the most current Microsoft Office suite. We bought the whole suite for $20. The whole Microsoft suite. $20. $20. I just gave you something free. Right there. That was a freebie right there. So you can go to TechSoup.org for more information about free software. And not free, but low cost.
Exactly.
It's extremely low cost.
You would think it's free.
You would have thought it's free, right? You would think it's free. Okay? And so, last thing I want to share with you all today is we talked about how to get seen by grantors. We talked about getting your financials in order. So, the last thing we're going to talk about is how to report your grant. So, let's say you did get a $1,000 grant for your organization, and they said, well, you just need to send us a final report. The only thing that you need to really focus on is if, like, for example, if you're serving children, they want to know the number of children you served, what you did when you served them. The report is actually what's going to help you to get more money from them next year. So as long as you are I got you. I see your request. I got you.
Yeah.
As long as you are keeping track of what you're doing in your programs, then you will be able to get money from them next year. Okay? So I have a request to repeat the website again. That is TechSoup.org. TECH, Tech, Soup, SOUP, like soup you eat, .org, O-R-G. TechSoup.org. You can get almost all the latest software that you need for your organization. As long as you send in your 501c3, they will hook you up, and I'm telling you, it's going to be the best investment you make in your organization by registering with TechSoup.org. Another great resource is Grant Station. So Grant Station is a resource that we use personally to find more grants. It's a database. So grantstation.com, G-R-A-N-T station, S-T-A-T-I-O-N, grantstation.com. And Grant Station, usually around this time of year, just keep your eye out. Through TechSoup, you can get a Grant Station membership for $99 for the whole year. It's $99 for the whole year. The regular price, I believe, is $599 for access to this grant database. Put grantstation.com.
I can put Grant Station in there. Mm-hmm.
And that will get you to a list of people who fund in your state. So you can actually look it up by state and see the corporations and foundations. Also, when it's time for state funding and federal funding to come out, you can also check for state and federal funding on there. But I would not send you there specifically to get federal and state grant. I want you to go to grants.gov to register for that. And that's if you're a for-profit or non-profit, register for grants.gov because they do business with both sides. You want to register with grants.gov, grants, G-R-A-N-T-S.gov, G-O-V. You want to register with grants.gov because of the government contracting opportunities. But before you register on grants.gov, you have to be registered with SAMS. Woo, I'm about to throw out a whole lot of websites here, so I want you to keep scrolling. Chris is going to type it in so that you can go back and look at the website. If you do, I keep telling you this every week, guys. If you do what I tell you to do, I feel like I'm your mama here. If you do what I tell you to do, honey, you're going to get you some money.
Right.
If you do what I tell you to do, your business is going to make money, but you have to do it the right way. So, if you have a government or you have the desire to do government contracting, you need to register with SAM.gov as well. SAM.gov. So this is SAM.gov. Okay? And once you register with SAM.gov, they're going to take you through a whole lot of hoops. But that's okay. Because once you get through those hoops, you will be eligible for federal government contracts. And those contracts come in the millions sometimes.
Yeah.
So we've had hundreds, thousands of dollars of government contracts. We're working on $1 million government contract as we speak. And so I want you to first get all your stuff registered. So SAM.gov, there's going to be an opportunity for you to, you're going to have to know your cage code and just go in there and walk you through it. I don't have time to go through that step. But if you want to...
You're probably going to have to watch this video like a few times.
Yes.
Go back and watch all
If you want to get government contracts, you have to register with them, okay? Another place you want to look into is GSA.gov, okay? GSA.gov. That is the other source for finding out about government contracts, GSA.gov, okay? The last place you want to look for is on the state side. So the state has a procurement office. Now, in the state of Georgia, if you're in Georgia, I can tell you that it's called Georgia Team Marketplace. You want to go to Georgia Team Marketplace and register on the marketplace. And anytime a government contract comes up with your industry code, you will be notified by email. Now, every state has one because there was one when I was in Michigan. There's one in California. I just can't think of it right off the top of my head because I'm in Georgia. But once you go to your state's procurement office, they will have the website for government contracts. Or you may want to look for your procurement office, the RFP. So type in Google State Procurement RFP. RFP, that's a request for proposals.
Yep.
request for proposals. Once you type that in, it'll take you to your state website so that you can see what proposals they have out there. And there may be some that's in your industry. And this is also, if you're looking to get into business and you just don't know what the industry you want to go into, this is a great way to find out what the state is looking for, and you can start a business around that. And I actually did that before. So, for example, we had a business that was focused around. Oh, I can't tell you really because we still have that going on. But let's just say you had I could tell you one, the cleaning business.
It's in development. That's what she's saying. Okay.
It's a cleaning business, right? So you know that the state always have state buildings. Well, who cleaned those buildings? That's a good question. That's a government contract. And if you think about the number of state buildings in the entire state, I'm talking about state owned. That is not just the state capitol where you know the Congress meets and things like that. I'm talking about the Department of Labor, the DMV, the Social Security Office, all of these places that's in your state that are government ran, the post office. Who cleans those buildings?
So that's always a tactic that I teach people, is that find out what the consumer need is and then fulfill that need.
Right, so you can work backwards. You want to know what business to start. You want to get a business that's funded by government contracts. Go on the government contract website and see what keeps popping up.
Right.
For example, Chris is an audio engineer, and he used to do a lot of live music, live sound, engineering, AV, anything audio visual. Well, for the past 6 months, I've probably seen about 4 or 5 contracts specifically for audio visual equipment and installation and setup. Request for proposals. Well, if you're in the audio visual industry, you didn't think that you would get government contracts, but you got to remember, public universities are also
correct
state buildings.
Right, but there's a key to what she said, is that I already do that. So make sure that when you see a proposal and you get ready to create that business or go after that particular funding source, is that you're strong in it, you're proficient in it, because you don't want to go in
that's good.
And thinking you can do something that you don't have the proficiency in.
Right, then you'll never get a government contract again in your life.
Because your name will
your name will pop up, your name will be tarnished.
No,
so he's right. He does have an audio visual background, so it would make sense for him to start. So I just told him, why don't you just start your audio visual company and just do government contracts? I mean, they have universities. Every university that I know of always need updated equipment in audio visual because everybody uses the teleprompter. Everybody, not the teleprompter, the what's the thing? The board. They got smart boards now and everything is all updated. But everybody uses it, and even in the classrooms. So anytime you're looking to start a business and you want to know where to start, go to GSA.
Find out what people need.
Find out what people need. Go to the state procurement office. Find out what they need, and then ask yourself, "Can I do that? Can I do that? Can I do that?"
Or maybe you are great in business and organizing.
And your husband or your spouse,
somebody else,
or your best friend.
Right.
Your best friend. You may be the business person, but your best friend can install a mean TV. Your best friend is the person you go into business with. And you handle the business side. You're the one handling the contracts. You handle the finances. This person, he's going to do the installation because he's going to make sure it's done right. You don't want to touch the installations. You know what I'm saying?
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane.
We talked about that on the previous episode.
Yes.
Know what you're proficient in and stay in that lane and do it well.
All right, guys, that is our time.
She gave a lot.
This episode probably out of all the episodes.
It's a little longer.
It's a little longer because I stacked so much into this episode, and I tried to keep it short. But if you watch it again, write down all the resources that I told you about, and I keep telling you, I promise you, if you do what I say, you're gonna
give it up for Mama Ty.
baby, you better do what I say. All right, you're gonna be very wealthy one day, and that's because you're doing it the right way. So tune in next week, same time, same channel.
Tune in next time, 8:15.
8:15.
Yep.
This is Love and Entrepreneurship. I'm Ty Woods.
I am Chris Woods. Make sure you follow us on social media. We haven't been giving out our social media because we're going to create a whole Love and Entrepreneurship page, so you can go ahead and follow us there and get all the information. But we're here just to give out information, because guess what? You need a mentor, and that's what we're here for. We need a mentor.
So since we can't mentor every single person that asks us to mentor them, we figured this is the best way. We carved out the time, and this is the best way for us to mentor you without mentoring you.
But remember, we are still...
That's why we said put your questions in.
Yeah, we will be looking for 10 businesses this year to actually walk through the process of growing their business.
Right.
At the same time, we're growing another business.
Right. So we're going to take you through that entire step. And like Chris said, we want to be there to walk you through the entire step of the business and actually make money with that business. So this is our 6th business that we're going to do this with. And we're going to do this business with you. So we're right back where we started. Now we have the other businesses. They're making money on their own. They don't need us. We're not there. They're businesses. We're not self-employed. We're business owners.
Which is a whole nother topic that I want to get into.
Okay, next week. Well, y'all, we gotta go. We see y'all next week. Come on back.
Lastly, though, you still wanted to, definitely condolences for.
Well, I said that at the beginning.
You did do that?
Yeah, you totally missed it.
Okay. I didn't miss it.
You totally missed that. Anyway, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for this. This is just how we are. Thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate your time. And once again, we just want to send our condolences out to the Bryant family once again, and just know that you are in our thoughts and prayers, and the other families that lost their lives today. This is just definitely not something that we just overlooked or oversee, but we wanted to make sure that you guys got the information that you needed. But we're truly hurt over here, especially me.
With the original number 8.
With the original number, because I'm a true fan, not a bandwagon. But that's another story. All right, y'all.
I'll just leave you with this as we chime out. Remember, tomorrow's not promised.
Yeah.
What you do today is what's going to count.
Yeah.
So make sure you following your dreams, following your passions.
Yeah. Life is too short, y'all.
Don't wait till tomorrow to start your business. Don't wait till tomorrow. Do it now.
Do it now.
Do it now.
Do it now.
Love
All
you.
right.
Love you. Entrepreneurship.